It's about the I got to say, it's the stupidest thing in sports.
Gets the ball, gets back, pulls up for the win. Got it! Detroit basketball. Holloman looks the clock, half court for the win. Oh! The Lions go for it. The Vikings bring it. He's a pass. It's a touchdown to give.
Javi Baez homered earlier. First one in the air, deep left field again. Yes, Tigers win. Javi is unstoppable.
This is BS Sports.
And away we go. Welcome in on a Victory Tuesday. First Victory Tuesday, and hopefully not the last Victory Tuesday. How was your guys' weekend? Did you guys have a good weekend? Because I had a fun weekend. I had a real fun weekend. First, Michigan State won, although we'll talk about them because I do have some concerns. Then Sunday afternoon, I get home. I'm a little late than I normally am. I'm a nervous Nelly. I'm feeling like, oh my gosh, we can't lose this game. But the Bears feel like they can't lose this game either, and I'm like, no, there's no way this team is as bad as they were in Green Bay. There's no way, and then they gave me that, and that was delightful. Pretty much on all fronts, it was delightful. I loved every single minute of it, and this is why. Just a brief tangent before we really get into the segment of the show talking about the game. You know, whenever people ask me, they're like, would you rather like your team win a real close game, or would you rather they, blow them out and it's just not even a game and it's boring in the third quarter? Give me the boring game. Yeah. Give me the game where we score 50 and the other team scores 2. That sounds like a lot of fun. That doesn't. There's no stress. There's no anxiety. There's no anger. There's no confusion. There's no fear. It's just rip the Band-Aid off one way or the other. I'd even rather get blown out than just get there so close and then have my dreams thrown to the ground. Now, don't quote me on that because I'm sure in the moment I'm not appreciative one way or the other. I don't want to lose anyway. There's no good way to lose, and there's also no bad way to win as far as I'm concerned, because a win is a win and a loss is a loss. So, anyway, all right. Let's jump into it then. So, Lions, they absolutely, completely, and totally murdered the poor Chicago Bears. And I've made this point before, and I know it's early, but the Bears really are the new old Lions. Like, they seem to just find the nearest rake and step exactly in its direction and slam the rake right into their face. Because we've seen this dance before with them. Get a new coach, get in a new quarterback. First, the quarterback stinks. Then you realize the coach stinks. Fire the coach, get rid of the quarterback, start over. We've done this now 3 times. We did it with Mitchell Trubisky. We did it with Justin Fields. And now we're going through it with Caleb Williams. Now, Caleb has more time now to fix this, to get, past this current badness. But he wasn't great his rookie year. And he hadn't been great his sophomore year with a new coach and a new offense and all the weapons in the world. Don't tell me this guy didn't have weapons. He's got weapons. All right, they spent a first-round pick on Rome Odunze, and they spent a first-round pick on Golston Loveland. So they, at the very least, they spent capital to get these guys, and they got DJ Moore. So they've got weapons. It's just the chef is burning the steak, basically. I'd like to get a little bit more into the Bears, maybe a bit later. So let's get into the Lions, because this game was truly chicken soup for the soul. If I just look at the box score for you, Jared Goff, this guy is just unbelievable. It really, it's so shocking to me. Like, if you would have told me when we traded for him that I would just be singing this man's praises and defending him at every step of the way, I would have thought you were crazy, because all this guy does is go out and just ball. All this guy does is go out there, 23 for 28, 333 yards, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5, count them, 5 touchdowns. He even had 6 yards on the ground. So mobile Goff back on. Like, all this guy does is help win. He plays winning football. He can hit you deep. I remember it's so funny, like looking back, it's like, oh, he can't throw the deep ball. Cutscene. He had 2 deep balls to Jamison Williams. He can't, I don't know, he can't win in the playoffs. And then he wins 2 games in the playoffs. And he can't win in the cold. And he goes out last year and goes undefeated on the road, including a couple of cold games there. Like, it just seems like, okay, can we just move on? This guy is an elite quarterback. This guy is top 10. You pick the stat, he's probably in the top 10 among quarterbacks. This guy's a very good quarterback. So we can just throw that one to bed. And the question, of course, becomes, did Jared Goff make Ben Johnson? Or I'm sorry, we're not going to have that conversation? We only have that conversation when the player is bad and not the coach? We don't? Okay, that makes sense. Just wanted to make sure. Just because it's interesting that when Jared Goff plays bad, it's because he was never that good to begin with. But when the coach sucks and Jared Goff looks really good, well, it's because the roster that the coach has sucks. Got it. Understood. Just tell me you don't like Jared Goff without telling me you don't like Jared Goff, basically. So, moving along, though, to the other facets of the game. On the running game looked much improved. Jahmyr Gibbs, 94 yards on 12 carries. David Montgomery, 11 carries, 57 yards. Both of those guys with touchdowns. On the wide receiver end, I already talked about Jamison Williams. He had 108 yards on 2 catches. Guy averaged 54 yards a catch. That's hysterical. Amon-Ra had 9 catches for 115 yards and 3 touchdowns, a career high for him. Even have Isaac Tesla with a 29-yard catch. Brock Wright had 3 catches, one of them for a touchdown. Sam Laporta had 3 catches. It was a lot of guys getting a lot of love all over the field. Like, obviously, it was mostly Amon-Ra, but it was just everything that I could have wanted out of this game. The offensive line was protecting Jared Goff. It was helping the run game. You had big stops on the defensive side. Now, I did hear, and there's some truth to it, that, the pass rush was struggling until the second half when they knew they were throwing. You got to start somewhere. That's how I see it. You got 4 sacks on the night, or on the day, I should say. I'm not going to be mad at that. I don't have the emotional weight to be mad at you only getting 4 sacks when you knew they were throwing. Like, you knew they were throwing, so you were able to get to the quarterback. That sounds fine to me. Like, that works for me. Obviously, you got one from Al-Quadin Muhammad. You got one from Aiden Hutchinson. You got one from Brian Branch, who looked absolutely phenomenal out there. He had a couple of tackles for loss as well. Jack Campbell was your leading tackler with 8 tackles. All this guy does is grind, and nobody talks about him, too. All this guy does is go out there and stuff the run and make plays, and nobody really gets to talk about him because he's not, stripping the ball like Brian Branch, or he's not, rushing the quarterback like Aiden Hutchinson. Like, the defense just overall looked better. Now, obviously, we'll see what Marcus Davenport, he was taken out of the game, but he had a sack, so at the very least, he was able to do something in this game. And look, you went a whole second half without giving up a point, pretty much. And I'm not even going to count that 7 points they got in garbage time, because they shouldn't even had that. It should have been Terrion Arnold's first interception, but a nonsense roughing the passer call took that away, and it allowed that drive to continue, and they end up scoring. The defense shut them down basically from, beginning to end. They had a really good scripted drive to start the game. Okay, not going to be freaking out after that. After that, they didn't do anything. Like, they were turning the ball over. They just looked anemic out there. And we were letting them stay in the game, granted, but it was like, man, we were playing with our food. It just felt like, okay, like, the Bears can't move the ball. Eventually, the Lions' offense is going to break through, because it was like little mistakes. It was, Jared, he missed Jamison Williams on a throw, or that run just kind of blew up on him, or you had a missed field goal. We scored 52 points and left points on the board. That's what's crazy. That is what's crazy. Now, it's another 0-2 start for the Bears. I think I can't remember if they started 0-2 last year. But anyway, I want to talk about the Bears a little bit, because I mentioned at the top of the segment that the Bears are basically the new old Lions. And I made this point a couple of years ago when they blew that game in Ford Field. This was, I think, Justin Fields' last season. And here's what I'll say. Ben Johnson, and I said this going into the season, Ben Johnson ran a very particular kind of offense. And it is not the kind of offense that Caleb Williams is capable of running. Caleb Williams, throughout most of this game, there was a few plays where I was like, wow, that's a nice play by him. But most of it, it was like easy plays. You identify the open man on your first read, you get a lot of yards after catch. You have a nice run there from Swift. There was nothing that I came away from this game thinking, wow, this guy is obviously the number 1 overall pick. He wasn't really running with the ball. He rushed for just 27 yards on 5 carries. And he was taking too many. He was taking too long. And then, of course, he made that awful, awful interception. That was just that is a play that you just simply cannot get away with in the NFL. You might be able to get away with that in college, especially at USC. You're not getting away with that in the NFL. No shot in hell are you getting away with that. With these defensive backs, with these safeties, not going to happen. And furthermore, I saw something. Somebody said oh, well, he really only had a bad time when he was, getting pushed out of the pocket. And he didn't get pushed out of the pocket that much. It's like I was watching a different game. He was missing guys short. He was missing guys high. The body language does not indicate somebody who wants to be there. It indicates somebody who just feels like nothing can go right for him. And the team doesn't feel like they've really bought in to what Ben Johnson is doing. And look, it's 2 weeks. He's a new coach. He's never been a head coach. Maybe it does take some time. I'm not denying that. But, and this might seem hyperbolic, and I'm not meaning it to be. And I'm not comparing these two. Okay? I just want to clarify. All right? Just in case any Bears fans come in and they get all upset. When Matt Patricia made his debut in Detroit, the first game they had was a terrible Monday night game where they just got completely massacred. And by the third quarter, probably even earlier, it looked like the entire team had just quit on Matt. This game had a very similar feel. You might say that, okay, last week they were playing well, and in the second half, things just got away from them. J.J. McCarthy had a, quarter worth, $1 million, the best quarter a quarterback has ever had in a long time. Just completely, everything was going their way, and nothing was going the Bears' way. Okay. This game was, okay, we got to within 1 possession just before the half ends, and I even said, they probably should have ran the ball maybe 1 or 2 times there and allowed for the clock to roll there because they gave us way too much time to at least get a field goal. They give up that big play. Then all of a sudden, defense has got to go back out onto the field after they thought they just made a stop. And then they give up the touchdown. And then they go 3 and out. And at that point, my mind was in the back of my mind, and it came into the forefront. Oh, they're giving up. They're not going to, they're done. Whatever Ben Johnson and his coaching staff is trying to tell them, they're not listening. You come out of that second half after giving up a touchdown and you do nothing. That looks like a team that is exacerbated. And it's week 2. We'll see how the Johnson era in Chicago stands. But I said this before. The offense that Ben Johnson runs, or that Ben Johnson ran in Detroit, does not fit Caleb Williams' play style. And maybe he'll figure that out, or maybe Caleb Williams will adjust. This feels like a guy who got in too deep and didn't know what he was getting into. We'll see. But, hey, I hate to see it. Oh, and one last thing before I end the segment. To all the idiots who can't understand why Detroit fans would boo Ben Johnson, here's a tip. He's coaching for the other team. I don't know if you've been to a lot of sporting events. Usually they don't cheer for the other team. This might be shocking. When I go to a Lions game, you know what I don't do? I don't clap when the other team's coming out on the field. You know what I do? I boo. Because that's what you do. Oh, but he was really good as an offensive. Dude, just shut up. Okay? Like, we don't owe him anything, and he knows that. Okay? We don't need to cheer for him because he was happily employed with us for some amount of time. All right? So stop. Like, just stop this pearl clutching. Oh my gosh, Detroit fans, how could they treat their former coordinator? That's the key. That's the operative word right there. Former. He didn't have to go to Chicago. He didn't have to leave at all. He chose to take a job with a division rival. So he's going to play his old team twice a year. So he's going to get booed. And guess what? If we play the Jets at home, you know what's going to happen to Aaron Glenn? He's going to get booed. And you know what's going to happen if and when we play Matthew Stafford again in Ford Field? You know what's going to happen? He's going to get booed. That's how this works. The fact that I have to explain this to grown adult people who seemingly have watched sports for longer than me is astonishing. But hey, we live in a strange time. So, yeah. Great win for the Lions. Chicken soup for the soul. Needed that. Now we're on to Baltimore. All right. Take a look at some of the chat. Bacon bombs in the house. Everything we could have wanted except getting Tesla more involved. See, Tesla had a role. He had a role to play. He made a big catch there at the end of the second quarter. Yeah, I'd like to see him get more targets. I'd also like to see him use both hands. But, I'm not going to be upset if Amon-Ra gets 9 catches or 9 targets, or whatever, 9 catches, and Tesla only gets 1. That doesn't bother me, especially if we win the game. You kind of earn your spot here. It takes a little bit of time. That's just been the mantra since we've gotten here. Biggest difference was the offensive line was good, absolutely. Goff overthrew J-Mo on the deep throw. J-Mo literally lost his shoe, and that's the only reason it was overthrown. I didn't see that. I'd have to take a look at that play. But yeah, it did seem like on the one overthrow, but then the other one where he kind of just missed him. Like, I think he was short, or I don't remember what it was, where he was just wide open and he just completely missed him. Yeah, I mean, like, it's going to happen. Like, Goff did have one game last year where he was perfect, but that doesn't really ever happen. I think the stat was like the last time that happened was like 1912 or something crazy like that. But yeah, no, it was overall just a great game. And so I do want to talk about this as well, because in light of Monday night's game, for whatever reason, and I don't know, I guess I'll just point this out by name. So I was listening to 97.1 The Ticket, as I do occasionally, and I turned on 2 o'clock Valeni show with Rico, and the opening topic was about how we, meaning the hosts, wanted Baker Mayfield over Jared Goff. And to me, I like Baker Mayfield. I like Jared Goff. In what world is this a conversation that we should be having at any point? Like, it'd be like if after the Vikings game or after the Bengals game, we said, I really like Amon-Ra, but I really like Jamar Chase more. Like, what? Who? What? This is like the weirdest thing to talk about. And by the way, just for the record, because what people will say, well, he's clutch. And he is clutch. No denying that. As if Jared Goff has never had a game-winning drive. A little bit of a history lesson. I can give you a few just off the top of my head. First win of his time here in Detroit against the Vikings. That was a game-winning drive in the last few minutes with significantly less talent, by the way. You also had the game-winning drive against the Packers in 22. Final game of the season in Lambeau. That's a game-winning drive. You had a game-winning drive against the Bears in 23. You had a game-winning drive against the Chiefs in the first game of the season. Like, it's just stupid. Like, why? Like, and those are just off the top of my head. There's definitely been more. You had a game-winning drive against the Texans on the road. Like you had a game-winning drive against the Rams, first game of the season last year, overtime. Like it's just stupid. Like why is this how this could possibly cross one's mind? As someone who loves both Baker Mayfield and Jared Goff, both those guys are very good quarterbacks. Okay, but no, I don't have any desire to change my quarterback, and I don't look at I don't look at Baker Mayfield and think, oh my gosh, I wish I could have him. It's like we sound like we're like in a couple on the verge of having an affair. Like, oh man, Jim really listens to me when I talk. You don't even listen to me. It's like, oh well, that's just great. Like, what does a guy have to do? Again, 52 points, 5 touchdowns, 334 yards. But we're talking about which quarterback we'd rather have. Ridiculous. All right. J-Mo ran a go, and it was overthrown, and J-Mo lost his shoe. Then there was a deep cross route, which Goff underthrew about 5 yards, and J-Mo looked like he never saw it. Yeah, that was the one I was talking about. I was at the game, so maybe the broadcast didn't see J-Mo grab his shoe. Yeah, I didn't see that, so maybe it didn't even show it. That must have been a pretty fun environment to be in. Bacon bombs. That's got to be a lot of fun. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say. That's all I wanted to say on the Lions. As far as previewing next week, here's what I'll say. This is going to be a bit of a litmus test. What we can't have is another game where we look like we did against Green Bay, where the Ravens are just a million years ahead of us. And I don't think that's what's going to happen. Even the Green Bay game, everything going right for Green Bay and nothing going right for you, that happens in the NFL. That happened a couple of years ago, coincidentally against Baltimore. Like, was Baltimore so much better than you that year? No, not really. Last I checked, they didn't go to the Super Bowl that year. And I'm pretty sure they lost in the AFC Championship game. I think that was, I could be wrong about that. I think that was right. I think that was that year. So, yeah, like, it's going to happen. And this week, look, the Ravens, they played, obviously, a great game against the Browns. I feel like for the Ravens, it was another one of those they needed to win, obviously, because they had that disappointing loss against the Bills. Their defense, while good, is not so absolutely astronomical, unbeatable, right? I mean, they're going to be without Kyle Van Noy, former Lion. Shout out Jim Caldwell for, doing so much great work with him. But, they're going to be without Van Noy. Now, granted, we might be without Davenport. We'll see. Hopefully not, but Muhammad is a decent option in the backup. I'm not. We'll get into it when we get into the picks. I'm not. If we don't win, are we really going to be freaking out? I don't think we should. It's on the road. It's Monday night. It's a very good quarterback. Like, if we go out there and we look like trash, then we might start getting antsy. But if we go out there and if let's say we lose a game 24-30, 31, are we really gonna throw a fit, or like we lose a game, 23-17? I don't know. It's like a low scoring game, but both defenses are playing well. Whatever the case is, I'm not gonna throw a fit over that. But if we win this game, then I don't want to hear all the, you beat a team that wasn't very good. That now it's like, okay, we are getting into that point where we're in that same echelon of team as, say, the Green Bay Packers or some of the other undefeated teams, the Bills and so on. Obviously, depending on how the rest of the week goes for those teams, we'll have a better idea. But this is going to be a big test, for sure. It's going to be obviously the first big test of the season. Lions, Ravens, Rams, Eagles, and Broncos, Chargers were the only things that stood out. Are you talking about matchups this week? Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, week 3, we'll get into it. But, yeah, not a great week, at least on paper. And sometimes those surprise you. I don't think anybody expected the Jets-Steelers game in opening why am I blanking on the term? Opening week of the season. That game ended up being pretty good. But anyway, Speaking of the week, let's just jump right in to the week and the recap. I got a bunch of things I want to talk about because there's been a lot of news on top of just the fact of the games. But I'll start with Thursday Night Football. Green Bay handling business. They take care of the Commanders 27-18. Jordan Love looks really good. Here's what I'll say about this game. Green Bay on short rest played very well. The defense is obviously a threat. There's no doubt about it. You held the Commanders to 18 points, and Jane Daniels was just 200 yards, and he threw the ball 42 times. Austin Eckler goes down. He's done for the season. Now you're starting to think, okay, this Washington team does kind of feel like, it's Jaden Daniels and friends. And unfortunately for Washington, Jaden Daniels, he's also, injury uncertainty, right? Like, I believe he went down with a knee injury. He stayed in the game, obviously, but, he's dealing with a knee injury now. And you're out Austin Eckler. Your leading receiver was Zach Ertz. Terry McLaurin did not do much for you. Deebo Samuel is, modern day Deebo Samuel, so he's fine, but not a difference maker. It's funny when, obviously, the last time this Washington team played my team, their receivers looked like a bunch of Jerry Rices out there. But, Terry McLaurin's not getting much younger. And the rest of their receiver core is blah. Not doing a whole lot for me. And their defense is also kind of blah. Similar deal. It's a lot of guys that are kind of older. Bobby Wagner, Marshawn Lattimore. Like, it's not Will Harris, former Lion. That's actually crazy. I did not know that Will Harris was. I just didn't know that he was. I didn't know that he was on the Commanders. That's funny. I didn't mean to. That's interesting. Oh, and Von Miller is also apparently on the Commanders. You want to win Immaculate Grid? Get a Washington Buffalo Von Miller find. How about that? So yeah, like, this Commanders team is interesting, but unfortunately the injuries with the defense, that's not good. It's not good. And speaking of injuries, we continue on. Joe Burrow, they win the game, but at what cost? Joe Burrow, he's going to be down the next 3 months with toe surgery. So pretty much his season's over. And if you even want to go, like, look at this into a giant perspective, 2 out of the 3 seasons, the last seasons, Joe Burrow's gone down for a significant amount of time. This will be the most time in those 2 out of 3 seasons. And if you want to go further out, 3 out of his 6. So 50% of the time that he's been in the NFL, he's missed significant time due to injury. Not his fault, but it goes to show that if you don't handle your franchise quarterback well, if you don't give him both the weapons in the wide receiver room and the protection in the offensive line room, things can spiral very, very quickly. It wasn't that long ago that Joe Burrow was in MVP conversations, that he was the Mahomes slayer, that he was in the Super Bowl and had the ball with a chance to drive down the field and win Cincinnati's first Lombardi. And now everything about that Cincinnati Bengals team is bad. Like, all the vibes, all the tenor about that team, it feels like everything is going to fall apart very quickly. And maybe we're in the midst of it. And moving on again to more injury news in the quarterback room, J.J. McCarthy had a terrible night against the Atlanta Falcons. It was interesting. It was the quarterbacks in the national championship rematching each other. And this time Michael Penix got the victory, although only 135 yards for him. But 22 total points for Atlanta. They win 22-6. And J.J. McCarthy looks absolutely terrible. 11 for 21 and 2 picks, no touchdowns. And now he's dealing with an ankle injury, and he's going to miss at least next week. So that's 3 quarterbacks, all taken in the first round, mind you. Not that matters as far as, the injury sake. They're all down. Like, I don't know what's going on here, but it seems like there's something in the water with these quarterbacks. Like, I'm trying to go down the list to see if there's any other quarterback injury. I mean, even Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy didn't play last week. Mac Jones is in for the 49ers. You know, we'll see about some of these other like Bryce Young did not play well despite the numbers. Geno Smith also did not play well. It's weird. They don't even show the stats for that game. That's interesting. It's funny because it was on ESPN too. But anyway, like we're in a weird spot now where you're gonna have next week 3 starting quarterbacks. 2 of them for sure are not starting. One of them in Washington. We'll see. I would be shocked if he doesn't start because we would have heard about that by now. But man, like we're only in week 2. And you know what's funny? And I've made this point before because people will talk about, oh my gosh, the Lions' schedule, it's so hard. Oh my gosh. Now all of a sudden that game at Cincinnati doesn't look so scary. And we'll get to this other team, the Chiefs. That game on the road doesn't look so scary either. It's weird. It's almost as if you don't actually know the difficulty of your schedule until it actually starts, until you actually have to play the teams, until by the end of the season when you get a full view of just how good and how bad some teams were. Odd. Maybe somebody smart probably said that at some point, but why would anybody listen? Anyway, speaking of the Chiefs, because I mentioned them, I feel like we're at the end of an era. And it's been a very tumultuous era, at least for Chiefs fans. Patrick Mahomes just looks cooked. And not in that he has no talent, but in that he's got no talent around him, and the poor guy just doesn't want to be there. Like, I think the epitome of it was when his number 1 target, Travis Kelce, caught a ball, except he didn't catch the ball. He basically threw it to the defender, and the defender almost got a pick six. When I saw that, because I had Patrick Mahomes on my fantasy team, so I had something of a vested interest in how well he was doing. I saw that. I think my exact words were, "You stupid fat idiot." And that's pretty much how I feel. Because I look at Travis Kelce, he does not really look like the Travis Kelce that, brought fear into any defense, let alone, the reigning Super Bowl champs. Like, he looks lethargic. He looks slow. He looks out of shape, to be perfectly honest with you. Mahomes, it just feels like they're doing the motions. Like, and okay, you're right. You make a good point. Xavier Worthy's out, Rashee Rice is out, but like, are either of those guys maybe combined that you'd say that they probably would help the receiver room? But like, everything about this Chiefs team feels like checked out. Like ever since that Super Bowl where they got massacred, and I loved every second of it. It just kind of feels like this team is like, I don't know. We're like, you start 0-2 and your odds of making the playoffs are pretty low. So you're not going to get Rashee Rice back until, I think October, November. Maybe I don't remember exactly when it is, but you're not getting him back for a while. So by that time, what do you think they're going to be? Like, even just looking ahead at their schedule. This Sunday, they got the Giants, Sunday Night Football, on the road. That should be a win, all right? All hating aside on the Chiefs, that should be a win. Ravens at home, 4:30, CBS, national, America's Game of the Week. Is that some layup? No, not at all. You got at the Jaguars. That's Monday Night Football. That could be a tough one too. All things considered. Jaguars are playing decently, and maybe they can figure it out. At the very least, they're at least playing about at the same level as the Chiefs. You got the Lions at home. We'll see how that ends up going. Like I said, Raiders, Commanders. Like, I don't know exactly when they get Rashee Rice back, but if it's not until like mid-October, we're looking at they could get 2 or 3 wins. That's not good. That's not good at all. So it just feels like this is the end. And you know what? I can live with that. Because if it means I don't have to see Travis Kelce's stupid face, and I don't have to see Taylor Swift every time Travis Kelce catches a football, and I don't have to see Mahomes in every single football commercial, or for State Farm, or for any of these other companies, like, if it means I just don't have to see the Chiefs as much, then it's fine. It'll be worth it. But man, like, everything just feels out of sorts. And, you learn a lot about teams in the first couple of weeks, just given the nature of, if you start 0-2, you're probably not going to make the playoffs. They started 0-2. Don't like their odds. Man, I'm telling you, that would be the best timeline. If they trade for Tyreek Hill, like the Thanos meme, you couldn't live with your own failure. So where did that bring you? Back to me. Like, it's just it would be exactly the kind of thing that they would do. And to be perfectly honest, I don't think it would work. I don't know that Tyreek Hill has any interest really in playing football. And we don't even know what this situation is with this domestic dispute, or this domestic abuse, I should say. I shouldn't undermine it. Yeah, like, I don't know. Like, everything about this Chiefs team, and I know it's early, but again, you start 0-2. We're looking at like 10% of the teams that start 0-2 since 1990 make the playoffs. And you're in a tougher division than you were last year. The Chargers, they're up to 2-0. The Broncos, they barely lost a game to Indianapolis on basically some nonsense that they're just going to have to get over. The Raiders are the Raiders. They'll probably beat up on the Raiders because the Raiders are just terrible. Like, they're just terrible. I didn't plan on talking about this game because I did not watch a single second of it, because for whatever reason the NFL thought it'd be a good idea to put the Raiders and the Chargers game on at 10 o'clock. And apparently we don't have a box score. ESPN does not have a box score. But Geno Smith had like 2 interceptions and no touchdowns. Like, the Raiders did not score a single touchdown this whole game. The Chargers basically went on autopilot after the 17-3 or 17-6 halftime score, and they still won. They had 3 total turnovers. Wow. Yeah, but they have no other stats. That's weird. That is weird. Tyreek wants to play for someone who can throw deep. Yeah. I want a Bugatti. I want a mansion. I want a lot of things. Problem for Tyreek is, do other people want him? Like, it would be funny if teams will want him. I kind of am joking there, but like, teams will, if he is truly on the table for Miami, because they are just in complete free fall. And by the way, Mike McDaniel, trying to speed run getting fired. You win games when you win games, and you lose games when you lose games. It's like, bro, like, talk about a fall from grace. I really liked Mike McDaniel. I thought he was, doing a fine enough job for them, and then, well, everything just hit the fan. Like, they just completely, basically, since that playoff loss in the cold and like negative 103, they just have completely looked out of sorts. And then the Tua injuries, and no, it's a team with that much offensive firepower should not be this bad. And it's on the quarterback as much as it's on the coach and the players on the field, of course. So, what are you going to do? Just start over, it seems. The tank for Tua movement in Miami is it's in a bad spot. And it's really bad. It's really bad when Miami, I believe right now, I could be wrong about this, but I believe they sit with the longest playoff win drought in the NFL. I can look that up right now. NFL playoff drought list of, let's see. see. Okay. So list of making the play. Okay, here. Playoff win. So yeah, the Miami Dolphins. Yeah. The Miami Dolphins have the longest playoff win drought. Wow. 24 years. 24 years. You know it's bad when the Raiders have won a playoff game more recently than you. The Bears, the Jets, Cardinals. That one's actually not that. I guess like that's not that change. The Panthers. I mean, I guess the further down the list, it becomes less embarrassing. But like, man, that's brutal. Brutal. Anyway, my Bears suck. I'm sorry, Dylan. They do suck. I agree. As far as that issue goes, I concur. So, I guess I will talk about this Monday night game because this was a great game. Tampa Bay and Houston. This was a great game, man. Baker Mayfield. I said it, a little bit earlier. He has a flair for the dramatic. He is able to have these game-winning drives. The second one in a row. 2 weeks in a row where he's done this, both on the road. Like, this guy has just ripped the heart out of opponents just like that. And he really is a lot of fun. He had 3 runs for 33 yards as well, 215 total yards in the air, 2 touchdowns. Like, he wasn't lighting up the stat sheet, but that you can probably account for the fact that the Houston defense is really good. On the other hand, CJ Stroud has completely fallen down, and it's not his fault. It is the offensive line. Their offensive line has gotten worse and worse and worse basically since his rookie year. Like, I don't know what the process is behind this team building where they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to get rid of all of our offensive line. We're going to have a real good defense, which is good. You got Derek Stingley, Daniil Hunter, Will Anderson. You got a lot of great players on that defense. But and you even got a lot of good weapons in the offense. You got Nico Collins. You'll have Tank Dell back at some point. Unfortunately, you're also out Joe Mixon. So you got Nick Chubb. Did he do anything for you? And he had 12 carries for 43 yards. Jeez. Man, this feels a lot like Todd Gurley final season with the Falcons, where it was just like, oh, man, this guy used to strike so much fear. And now he's just sad. It's like, I remember Nick Chubb on the Browns, man. Just felt like every play that guy was just going to break off a massive run. And then it all just fell apart. Or start May over Love? Great question. Great question. Here's what I'll say. Just looking at the last couple of weeks, I probably wouldn't start May, at least not yet. Let me just real quick. Usually my marker for changing the starter, assuming there's not a bye week, is if you have a couple bad weeks in a row. And Love hasn't had a couple of bad. Last week he was great, 292 yards and a couple of touchdowns, I believe. So maybe more than that even. Let me take a look. I think it was just 2. Yeah, just 2. 2 touchdowns last week. But yeah, no, I don't think you move May over him just yet. I mean, even in the game against against the Dolphins, he was fine. Wait, what? Wait, whoa. What are you saying? What are you talking about? What? Do we have breaking news? Hold on. Do we have breaking news? We are seeing Billy Mike in the chat is saying that Drake May just got traded. No way. If you're trolling, Drake May. Hold on. I'm not seeing any news. I'm not seeing anything. I think somebody got. Hold on. I'm not seeing any of this. Let me check Reddit. I'm not seeing. Hold on. Now you're making me. I'm not seeing any of this. Wait. Nope. There's him headed to the medical tent. I'm not seeing this, Philly Mike. I've looked up Adam Schefter. I'm not seeing it. This is also fair. He might not come back into form. This is fair. All right, let me check that. I mean, where would you say he was going? To the Bengals? No, there's no way they would make that trade. You're trolling. You got to be trolling. Yeah, I'm not seeing this. I think Philly Mike is trolling. So, moving along. Okay. Let's see. Was there anything else I want to talk about this week for the NFL? Let's see. No, not really. We'll get back to the NFL when we get to the picks at the end of the show. So with that, we can move on to some college football. I hate when you drink water. I hate when the ice comes up. I want the water cold. I don't want the ice. All right. Talk some college football. Let's talk Michigan State. So, Michigan State, they get the win over Youngstown State, 41-24. And look, here's what I'll say. I don't think that this is great. However, there seems to be, and maybe I'm completely off on this, and I'm totally fine being off. There seems to be a completely disproportionate response to the first 3 weeks of this season from mostly Michigan State fans, where people are saying, oh my gosh, this team is so bad. Their defense is not good. They're not going to be able to do anything. That's going to be 5-7 all over again. And I just don't see that. And we'll learn a lot more this Saturday against USC, no doubt. But looking at just this Youngstown State game, Charles played another great game overall. 270 yards in the air, touchdown. He did have an interception, but it was pretty much in garbage time. And it's his first interception on the year. I think you're allowed to have one interception after 3 weeks of football. Is that fair? He also had 76 yards on the ground on 8 runs. Like, he is able, seemingly, to put the offense on his back. Nick Marsh had a great game. Even Jack Velling had a pretty great game. You know, the unfortunate problem, or the unfortunate problem, that seems like redundant. The unfortunate thing is, after this game, Nick Marsh goes down. You lose Luka Vincic on your offensive line, and Alante Brown. You lose both those guys long term. Mekhi Frazier, not sure what their status, not sure what his status is going to be. So you got 2 guys on your offense who are huge contributors, in Frazier and especially Nick Marsh. Both of them going down. Your offensive line is now weaker because you lose a starter. I'm not saying USC is a must win. It's not. But it has become a lot harder now to win, right? I mean, you lose. Hopefully, Nick Marsh and Frazier are fine, and the only losses are just Alante Brown and your offensive line, Vincic. But there seems to be this weird disproportionate response to where people are like, oh my gosh, the defense is just so terrible. And look, I'm not happy that we let Youngstown State score 24 points on us. I'm not happy about that at all. But the fact is, they only scored 24 points on us and we scored 41. There was really never a point where they were even remotely close to being back in this game, especially after the third quarter. They scored a touchdown in each quarter, but again, it's so far out of reach at that point that it's really not, there's not much I can say. Now, again, I'm not happy with that defensive showing, but I'm also not like, oh my gosh, when it we need to fire Smith. Now, I was hearing this. Like, I was seeing some of these people saying like Jonathan Smith needs to go, the defensive coordinator needs to go. Maybe the defensive coordinator does need to go, but to say that based on this game in which you won the game, right? Let's not forget we won the game 41-24. One thing that I have been saying, basically, I think since the Boston College game, your offense is going to keep you in games. Like, Aiden Childs is going to put the team on his back. And if Nick Marsh can come back and he's healthy, and you still got Omari Kelly, and if Jack Velling can start to come into form, your offense is going to keep you in games. The question will be whether your defense can do it. And Michigan State is going into this USC game as heavy underdogs. I mean, just as a look ahead, ESPN Bet has it at minus 18.5 in favor of USC. They have Michigan State winning this game, according to their matchup predictor, just 4.8% of the time. I'm not saying Michigan State is going to win this game, but I'm sorry, I don't see how it is that far out of reach. Like 4.8%, it's not the Penn State game. It's not like we're playing Ohio State or LSU or any of these really, top of the line teams or Georgia. Like, it just feels like there's a lot of the angst from last year, which is fair, I understand, that is carried over into this year. And now we're going to be going into a game against, probably the toughest competition so far, right? But, I mean, even just the season leaders, okay? Aiden Childs has thrown the ball 58, or he's got 58 completions on 81 attempts. He's got 6 touchdowns and 1 pick. Mayava for USC, 48 throws. He's got 70 throws, 48 completion, 6 touchdowns. Same amount of touchdowns. And I don't even think that includes rushing touchdowns. Mekhi Frazier, 43 carries, couple of touchdowns. Jordan, the running back for USC, 39 carries, 3 touchdowns. Nick Marsh, 16 catches, 3 touchdowns. Lemon, 16 catches, 2 touchdowns. Jordan Hall, leader in sacks with 2. Gentry, leader in sacks with 3. Jordan Hall, leader in tackles with 27. Gentry, leader in sacks with 21. Like, I don't think USC is the most overpowered, unbeatable force. Like, you would say, oh, well, who's Michigan State beaten? Who have they beaten? I mean, like, most, I don't even know who this is. What is most? They beat Missouri State. They beat by a score of like 1,000,000-0. 73-13. Then they murdered Georgia Southern's 59-20. And then they played kind of an average game against Purdue on the road. 33-17. Like, again, has Michigan State dominated opponents as much as they have? No. But we also didn't play those particular opponents. And I'm not saying that we are as good as USC. I'm not. I'm simply saying 4.8% chance to win the game, minus 18.5. Now, look, I could totally eat crow on this. Again, I maybe USC just goes and rolls all over us. I just don't see that happening. I think the offense, at the very least, is going to keep you in this game. And if the defense can be even, somewhat good, like if the defense can get a few big stops and get some turnovers, kind of like how they played in that Boston College game where they shut them down in the second half, it can be a tight one for USC. Now, granted, I'm not going to be able to watch this game because they decided to put it at 11 p.m., but that's a discussion for another day. I guess to me, I don't really get the angst, especially given you're 3-0. I mean, you're going to play UCLA, who just fired their head coach, so that feels like a win. You got Minnesota on the schedule for Michigan State. Like, you've got a route here to where you can at least get to 6 wins, which I would not consider a success, but at the very least, you get yourself into a bowl game. I mean, people are acting like this team is gonna not gonna win another game. So, look, I think it would be a huge, massive statement win if you can go on the road and beat USC. Oh, people are gonna go crazy. Like it's going to be. You're gonna turn that UCLA home game into a zoo in East Lansing. But if in my mind, if you can at least split the next 2 games, if you can get 1-1 on this road trip between USC and Nebraska, to me, that's a massive success. Because then you're going to be going in to UCLA 4-1, which potentially 5. You're going to be 5-1 potentially after that game. So I guess I just don't get the whole sky is falling. Smith sucks. We need to get rid of him. Move on. Maybe I'm totally out of touch. I don't know. I'm just not there. So we'll see. All right. That's enough about Michigan State. Let's talk about the rest of the college football week. Because it was actually at least a little interesting. Maybe not amazingly interesting, but a little interesting. Just a little. So let's start with Georgia. That was probably the game of the week. Georgia beating Tennessee in overtime 44-41. They get themselves right back into the driver's seat as far as the SEC goes. Does kind of feel like Georgia's kind of back, like Gunnar Stockton, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns. Aguilar for Tennessee also played a pretty fine game, although he did have a couple of picks there. This was I think for Tennessee's sake, they played a good game. They lost it. It happened. For Georgia's sake, they played a great game and they won it. Simple as. Georgia is right back into the driver's seat for the SEC. They are now seemingly the team to beat because Texas has completely fallen off for me, even despite their UTEP win. Like it's bad when they win a game and people don't feel happy. like they won that game against UTEP, but Arch Manning was getting booed off the field after he threw like 1,000,000 incompletions in a row. Telling you, man, his name was Arch Smith. Nobody would care. If his name was Arch Smith, Texas wouldn't be ranked number 1. That's a fact. That's a fact. And you will never convince me otherwise. You just won't. So, yeah. And speaking of sad and disappointing things and an orange team, Clemson? Clemson, you okay? You all right? Whenever you want to decide to just start winning football games, you come to me. People really had their high hopes with Cade Klubnik and this Clemson Tiger team, and they have done nothing but disappoint. Like, literally nothing but disappoint. Like, even in their one victory against Troy, they kind of barely won. Like, they lose to LSU in sad fashion. They lose at home, or on the road, I should say, against Georgia Tech, which, granted, on the road, but still. How do you lose this game, man? Like, how do you lose this game? It's just, I don't know what is going on in Clemson right now. It just feels like they have kind of lost the plot. Like, they not that they're going to just completely deteriorate from here, but certainly that they are just not that good. Like, they are just one of those teams that just gets a lot of preseason hype, and then season happens and they kind of go back to where they were before. So it's unfortunate for them, but I guess it's good for Georgia Tech. All those engineers, they're probably feeling really good. All the smart people, they were probably studying during the game. Had a big exam on Monday, so they wanted to get ahead of things. They didn't think that they were going to beat Clemson, and then they do. So, and then the final thing I just wanted to talk about, just because I think it's interesting, Notre Dame has not won a football game. And usually when you don't win a football game, usually what happens is you don't end up ranked usually. And yet Notre Dame is ranked number 24 in the AP poll. They have not won a game, and they are ranked. Granted, they played one less game than some of these teams because they had a bye week. But you haven't won a game. How are you ranked? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, oh, well, they lost really close to both of the teams. Yeah, but you lost. Like you can't tell me that, like, you can't tell me just because they lost to good teams that they should still be ranked. You lost. At the very least, you got to earn your way back. Like, you lose to one good team, okay. Maybe you're not unranked. You've lost to two. And now you got a game at Purdue, at home against Purdue. The thing is, if they win this game, they're not going to go down. And they're probably going to win this game. So basically, you're going to have a team that has not beaten a ranked opponent, that at every chance of having a ranked opponent has lost, and has won just one game at home, mind you. And they're just going to be rewarded for that, basically. Like, they're going to go up. They're going to go, or the very least, they're going to stay where they are. I just don't get it. I just don't understand. I don't know what do you do? What? Obviously, if they lose this game, they're going to be unranked, but that's because they're losing to an unranked team. So you're usually going to end up unranked when you lose to an unranked team, unless you're like number one, and depending on how big of the loss it was. But is he out? No, he's safe. Oh. Anyway, it's confusing at the very least. You know, I usually think, if you win games, you're ranked. But, apparently the AP does not agree. The AP says no. Actually, when you lose games, you stay ranked. You see. So, we'll see. As far as next week goes, a little bit of preview, look ahead. So, we'll see. What do we got? We got Texas Tech at Utah. That's the big noon game. That could be an interesting game. 2 top 25 teams. Probably the best big noon game since the opening big noon game, but that game ended up being relatively disappointing. So, looking at some of the rest of this, you got Oregon at Oregon State, or Oregon State at Oregon. You got Auburn at Oklahoma. That could be a good game. That could definitely be a good game. Nebraska or Michigan at Nebraska. Certainly, that could be a real needle mover game. That's about it. Actually, there really aren't that many good games. Illinois, Indiana. That could be. Yeah, maybe that's probably the game of the week. Illinois in the top 10 now. Indiana. Gonna be the NBC Saturday night game. Here comes Saturday night. Yeah, and then you got Michigan State at USC at 11 o'clock. That's crazy, man. The Colorado game is starting earlier than that. At least this game has a top 25 team. Ridiculous. You're telling me you can't start the game at 8? You're telling me that you can't even do an 8 o'clock start for this game? Ridiculous. Ridiculous. I don't know. But yeah, you got a couple of nice matchups. I mean, at the 12 o'clock hour, you got the Texas Tech Utah game. 3:30, you got the Michigan Nebraska game, as well as Auburn Oklahoma, and then the nightcap, you got Illinois Indiana. Other than that, it's a lot of blah. Oh, and by the way, if Colorado loses this game, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear any of it. You're gonna be at home, Wyoming. Okay, Wyoming is not good. I mean, even like Houston was an unranked team. Whoops. I think I clicked the wrong button. Hold on. I want to actually just see the game preview. Yeah, here we go. Like right now, Colorado has an according to ESPN matchup predictor, which we have already established, might not necessarily be super trustworthy. 85.7% chance win this game. They're minus 13.5 point favorites on ESPN bet. If they don't win this game, I don't want to hear it. All I want to hear at that point is, Deion Sanders is a total scam artist, basically. Like that's the only thing I want to hear from that point. So that's that. I want to say this, and I don't have it written on the show, like on the show sheets, because we're already an hour in. I just don't have time for it. Tigers currently losing 3-1 to the Guardians. They got a 6.5 lead on the division. And obviously, even if they lose tonight's game, they could certainly still win the series. It's a 3-game set. It's your last homestand. You got this and then the Braves series. Can we just close this out, guys? Please? I mean, like, the hitting has not been great right now. We haven't had a lead all night. And the pitching, 3 runs is not terrible in 6 innings, but it's also not great. Like, can we just get it together? Can we not blow if we blow this division, if the Tigers blow this division, I'm going to be furious. I'm going to be completely furious. Like, that is unacceptable. Not being the number 1 overall seed, not being, that's fine. Like, I can live with not having that, but the division is yours, or at least it was yours. But right now, Cleveland is right there, trying to sneak up on you. Like, even if you get swept, you'll still have the lead. But if you get swept, I'm in a little bit of panic mode to where, okay, you have to get it together right this instant, basically, because you're going to have to play Cleveland on the road. And if they got a chance to reclaim the lead in the series, Progressive Field is going to be packed. It's going to be a playoff environment because they are playing basically for their playoff shot. This is their chance to try to make the playoffs outside of the wild card, obviously. But man, 3-1, so it's not totally out of, totally out of the range for this team. But you got runners at second and third. I want to at least see what happens here. If they score, if they get a base hit, then we'll just go right into the picks. But if we can at least get out of this and make sure it's just a 2-run game, and maybe we'll have something here. You got 1 out, runner on second and third. Fry swings at the first pitch. It's foul. It's Tyler Holton on the mound here. Oh boy. This is nervous. It's a grounder up the middle, throw to home, and they got him at home. Nice play. That's big. Javi Baez at short. Bullet to Dingler at home. All right, you're not out of it yet, though. Not out of it yet. It's a real nice play. Javi Baez is wearing a number 21 jersey for Roberto Clemente. I thought that, I was like, Dylan Dingler's not. So it must just be only certain players that are wearing it. Maybe it's like, did he ever win the Roberto Clemente award? I don't know if he did. He might have been nominated at some point, so maybe that's what it is. Or maybe, hold on. Wasn't Roberto Clemente an outfielder? Yeah, he was an outfielder. Okay, I was going to say, it's not like he played shortstop. All right. 0-1 count to Kafis. Swing and a miss. There you go. They got John Kenzie Noel as a pinch runner. Big Christmas. That's what they call him. All right, come on, Holton. We can get out of this. We can get into the picks. And then, hopefully the Tigers can start a comeback here. 0-2, outside. Come on. Sweeper. Trying to get him to chase, obviously. Just keep him in front of home plate. One, two, swing and a miss. There you go. All right. Down just 3-1. That's all right. I mean, it's not great, but, you know, you can certainly 2 runs. Please. That's not too much. All right. It is finally that time of the show where we get into the thing that apparently I'm not very good at, but I continue to do it. God only knows why. It is the picks. Let's hit the music. Okay. This is lovely. Love this music. All right, so yeah, I'm just not good at this. I don't know what to do, guys. I don't know. I give up. All right, let's try it out. Thursday Night Football. We got the Dolphins and the Billies. Seth is taking the Bills. Yeah, I'm taking the Bills because Mike McDaniel does not want to coach football anymore, and I don't know that the Dolphins want to play football anymore. This feels like an unfortunately scheduled Thursday night game. You might have thought at the beginning of the year this could be a good game if Miami was able to be explosive on offense, but no, they look very bad. Bills all the way. Falcons at the Panthers. Seth taking the Birds. Yeah, taking the Falcons. Bryce Young is kind of back to being Bryce Young, and Michael Penix, despite not huge numbers against the Vikings, played pretty well. And he played pretty well in week 1 as well. He just ran into Baker Mayfield. So I think this is another good bounce, get-right game for Michael Penix. Division game, so you never know with these division games. But, yeah, give me the Birds. Packers at the Browns. Seth's taking the Packers. Yeah, I am in agreement. We got to take the Packers in this one. The Browns are terrible. Joe Flacco is very old and very sad out there. The Browns, I would say they have a good defense, but the Ravens put up like 40 points on them, so I don't even know if that's true. They do have some defensive players, namely Myles Garrett. Well, that makes your defense a lot better. So, yeah, but still, give me the Packers. Their defense is way better. So, doesn't matter. Texans are the Jaguars. I'm taking the Texans. I'm going to take the Jaguars, man. I don't think that this offense for Houston is anywhere near the level that they need to be. Now, granted, the offense for the Jaguars is not great either. But this just feels like... This just really feels like the Texans are just falling apart very quickly. Like, offense just not there. Defense is clearly there, but I can see the Jaguars coming away in a low-scoring game. Bengals at the Vikings, the battle of the backups. It's going to be Browning v. Wentz. Seth is taking the Vikings. You know what? I'm going to actually take the Vikings. I trust, and this is so weird, I trust Carson Wentz more than I trust Jake Browning. And it's not because Carson Wentz is so good, but Carson Wentz has a lot of weapons. That offense is loaded with talent. Aaron Jones, though, he's hurt, so that's going to be difficult to overcome. But Carson Wentz is an adult. He's played as a starter in this league. He's played in high-leverage games. I do think he can help right the ship for Minnesota. So give me the Vikings to get the victory. Steelers at the Patriots. Ew, yuck, gross. I'm going to throw up. Seth is taking the Steelers. I'm going to take the Pats. I do not trust the Steelers. I think this could be a kind of statement win for the Patriots. Drake May had a solid but not great game against Miami. This is going to be a tougher defense to deal with, but I do think that the Steeler team that just lost to the Seahawks is actually not that good. I will take the Patriots to win this game at home. Rams at the Eagles. Seth's taking the Eagles. Yeah, I'm going to agree. Both of these teams undefeated, and so one of them is going to come out defeated. And I think it's going to be the Rams. I wasn't particularly impressed with their showing against Tennessee. Cam Ward looked good, but maybe Cam Ward just is good. It's possible. The Eagles, I haven't been really impressed with them all year, but I think their defense is going to keep them in this game. I think their boring style of play is going to keep them in games, and it's going to work until somebody can really show that they can stop it. So, give me the Eagles. Jets at the Buccaneers. Seth is taking the Buccaneers. Yeah, you got to take the Buccaneers. I am also taking them. The Jets are very bad. I don't need to tell you that. I feel bad for Aaron Glenn because he's got Justin Fields as his quarterback, and that's not good. Yeah, and Baker is just better than Justin Fields, and the team is not good for the Jets. So give me the Buccaneers. Colts at the Titans. Seth is taking the Colts. Oh, man. this is tough because this Colts team has surprised me. They're 2-0, but realistically they should be 1-0 or 1-1 because that Denver game, that was very unfortunate. They came real close to losing that game. It came down to a penalty that bailed them out. I'm gonna agree and say the Colts because the Titans have to prove it for me. Their team is just also very terrible. But I'm not feeling super confident in the Colts. I don't know that they're for real, but I do think they can win this game. Raiders at the Commanders. Seth is taking the Commanders. Yeah, give me the Commanders. No shot. Geno Smith is terrible. He has been cooked basically since last year with Seattle. He's better than the quarterbacks the Raiders had last year, but that is not saying much. So, yeah, I think Jaden Daniels, despite the knee injury trouble, I think he'll go out there and he'll have a get-right game. We'll see what the running situation is because no Austin Eckler is tough. Broncos at the Chargers. Go, Chargers, go. Where's the drop? Hold on, there it is.
Go Chargers!
Go, Chargers, go. They are undefeated and they will remain undefeated. I am a believer in the Chargers right now. Truly. The Broncos, their defense is good, but I do not trust Bo Nix. And I do trust Justin Herbert. I think he's proven himself over the last couple of weeks to, at the very least, not lose you the game. So, give me the Chargers. Give me the Bolts. Go, Chargers, go. Where is it?
Go Chargers!
Go, Chargers, go. Does anyone know if Arnold Schwarzenegger even watches the Chargers? Anyway. Saints, Seahawks. You already know what I'm taking. It's the Seahawks because, once again, the Saints are not winning a football game. I will never pick the Saints. I just won't, in principle. I think the Seahawks aren't very good either, but they're better than the Saints. You know, Sam Darnold is better. I can't believe I have to say that, but that's the state of football. But that is a disgusting game, and I am grossed out at the prospect that game might be on my television. I hope it isn't. But we'll move along. Cowboys at the Bears. Seth is taking the boys. Yeah, I'll take them boys. This feels like this Bears team is going to very quickly start floundering. I don't know for sure. You know, this could be a get-right game for them back home in Chicago. But the Cowboys can put up some points. And that Bears defense is very, very bad. So give me the boys. Even though I hate that. I hate that game. I want them both to win. Cardinals at the 49ers. Seth is taking the 49ers. I'm going to take the Birds. I don't trust the 49ers at all. I don't trust them as far as I can throw them. I don't know if Mac Jones is going to be playing again. I said this Arizona Cardinals team, they could win that division. They really could. And they're undefeated going into this game. The 49ers, I just don't trust them. They got a lot of injuries. They played a decent enough game against the Saints last week. This is going to be a much tougher opponent. Give me the Cardinals. Chiefs at the G-Men. Yeah, give me the Chiefs. Russell Wilson. What that game last week against the Cowboys, that was just sad. That was just sad. I was rooting for a tie. I really was, because I didn't think either of these teams deserved to win. But this is probably your get-right game if you're the Chiefs. It is on the road, so you can say, well, you know, it's hostile environment. If they don't win this game, full-on panic mode for the Chiefs. Like, go start looking at Tankathon, basically. But they're not going to lose this game, right? And finally, Lions at the Ravens. Seth is actually taking the Lions. That is surprising. And look, you already know my policy. I'm taking the Lions. Do I think that they have a great shot, like an amazing, incredible, like they're going to just destroy in this game? No, not necessarily. But I do believe that they kind of got their swagger back last week against the Bears. They got over those week one jitters. Hopefully, the communication on the road in Baltimore, hostile environment, prime time. Hopefully, they're on point with that. If they are on point, I trust them more in a clutch spot than I do the Ravens. I just do. And, you know, I can probably eat my words. Last time the Lions played the Ravens, they got murdered. This could be a real statement win, but give me my Lions. All right, rounding it out here. Dolphins and Bills, we're both taking the Bills. Falcons at Panthers, we're both taking the Falcons. Packers, Browns, we are both taking the Packers. Texans, Jaguars, I am taking the Jaguars. Seth is taking the Texans. Bengals, Vikings, we're both taking the Vikings. Steelers, Patriots, I am taking the Patriots. Seth is taking the Steelers. Rams, Eagles, we are both taking the Eagles. Jets, Buccaneers, we're both taking the Buccaneers. Colts, Titans, we are both taking the Colts. Raiders, Commanders, we are both taking the Commanders. Broncos, Chargers, we're both taking the Chargers. Saints and Seahawks, we're both taking the Seahawks. Cowboys, Bears, we are both taking the Bears. Cardinals, 49ers, I am taking the Cardinals. Seth is taking the 49ers. Chiefs and Giants, we are both taking the Chiefs. And finally, Lions, Ravens, we are both taking the Lions. Those are your week 3 picks. All right. I got a little bit of a potential rally here. Oh boy. Grounder to third. They're not going to get Dingler. Okay. So a sacrifice out scores Riley Green. It's a 1-run ball game in the 6th. All right. Good base running there by Dingler. Not ideal to get the fielder's choice out, but you score a run, I'll take it. You chip away. Definitely will take that. All right, so a little bit of a look ahead. So I've already mentioned it. We're not going to be live for Michigan State's 11 p.m. start against USC. I did a late night game last year. I think it was a 9 o'clock start against Oregon. I regretted every decision I had ever made to that point that led to me making that decision. So I'm never doing those kinds of games. Just not, and certainly not doing it at 11 o'clock. I might do it 9 o'clock again, but 11 o'clock, no shot. Not happening. I will be live Monday night, though, for the Lions game. So keep an eye out for that. Obviously, won't be live for anything on Sunday. We will be live for the Monday night game here this upcoming Monday. So if you enjoyed, please hit the like, please hit the subscribe button. I would like to hit 500 subscribers before the calendar year is over. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe. We're live every Tuesday. We talk about all the sports. And in football season, we're primarily talking about football. What can I say? So if you like football, subscribe. If you like other sports, also subscribe. If you just want to hear me yell and scream and make funny noises, I mean, you could like the other stuff that I do, but you subscribe for that. That's fine. So with that all being said, I do appreciate anybody for stopping by and listening in. Have a good rest of your night, and I'll talk to you guys on Monday for Monday Night Football. See ya. See you later.